I'm excited, dude. I'm excited. This is clearly where the Cowboys are putting all their eggs, right? I mean, they're looking at the draft basket and they're saying, here goes all of our eggs. They're taking every single one of them and they're putting them in the basket labeled draft.
This is the only way the team improves.
They don't
the
have
only way they get better.
They're like, we don't even have any other baskets.
Give me a position.
It's not that we have baskets that are empty. We just straight up don't have the baskets.
They don't even have the eggs, but they're about to get some.
I am interested.
Quarterback?
No.
Well, good, because there's not a lot of good ones. We shouldn't talk about them.
I really want a tight end.
You want tight ends?
I want a tight end, and I know somebody on the Twitch chat was like, a tight end in the second round? Are we insane? Are we dumb? Are we stupid?
No, because the Cowboys have a terrible history of second-round tight ends, and I feel that.
Escobar.
Martellus Bennett.
Escobar.
Kevin Escobar, 100%. Yeah.
Well, that's fair.
Third-round tight ends. Jason Witten, ring any bells? That's what I'm talking about. Third-round tight ends.
Oh, yeah. Let's get another compiler.
I think we go offensive lineman round 1. Let's go with an edge rusher round 2. Give me a tight end in round 3. Maybe let's even move back up into the draft with some of our fifth-rounders. Get another third-round pick. Get a linebacker, maybe a receiver. Let's just sprinkle, dinkle, and party here.
Oh, yeah, because we got to get a receiver, man.
Well, I'll tell you, if Traylon Burks falls to 24 and they get wiped out at offensive line, they're taking Traylon Burks.
Okay, let's say, because I know you want offensive line.
I want offensive line more than anything else.
And it's Kenyon Green at the top of that list,
Kenyon
right?
Green, number 1 for me.
Okay, so let's say Kenyon Green and a couple of those guys you like on the interior of the offensive line are not there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but Karlaftis and Burks are there.
Don't do this to me.
I'm doing it to you, Steven.
I'm going Karlaftis.
Jerry, you're going Karlaftis.
Yeah, and I don't. Am I? Yeah, am I?
Would you be happy with either one, though?
Yeah, I'd be happy with either one. Okay. I think it's harder to find the edge. There's such a drop-off for me from Karlaftis to the next guy. I don't, and I love Traylon Burks, but I feel solid about finding another receiver option even on day 3 of the draft.
Okay.
And I don't feel, I mean, it is deep. You know, I've talked about my guy from Penn State, E.B. Keedy, as well.
EBDBDMB?
Yeah, I think he's going to go in round 3 unless he gets pushed up the board to round 2 just because he's a freak athlete. But I'd probably rock Karlaftis at 24 if I had the option between the two. I think they might go Burks, though. I don't know if they like Karlaftis as much as I do.
Well, I mean, I tend to agree with you. Like, if I view the players as similar, like on the board or whatever, like they're both kind of neck and neck there, I would lean edge rusher over receiver because it's not like you're completely dire at receiver, for one. And two, you can get other really good receivers in the second round or the third round or what have you. There's receivers all over the place. We know that by now. So I would probably do that as well. But that's one thing I am a little bit concerned about with the Cowboys when you start talking about big picture concern of what are some of the issues that you have. One of them is positional value.
Mm-hmm.
And do they fully grasp that? Like, certain positions matter more. And like, I know
they definitely do when it comes to safety. That's 100% sure. We know that.
Well, we know they don't care about them.
They don't draft safeties high.
They don't draft safeties, but they don't pay.
They really
safeties,
don't draft them at all, and they don't
stuff.
pay them. I mean, even though they paid Jaron Curse, but they didn't. I mean, they're not overly paying for him.
Right. They waited until they got him on the cheap kind of
deal. It's a good deal.
So, I mean, that's just one thing that I wonder is if, like, do they have a good grasp on positional value? But like for me, it would be, I would probably go, if all things are relatively equal, I'm going edge rusher there at 24 over the wide receiver as well, though I like both of those guys.
I love them both.
And I'm with you. I want the interior.
Guys in the entire draft. It's such a tough one right there.
So
put me in a pickle. Either way, I'm thrilled. You're getting a great player, in my opinion.
So let's look at the tight ends, though. Let's look at the tight ends, and I want to know how long I can wait to draft one that is still a guy that we feel like, hey, this guy could end up being a beast.
So I think in the third round, and a guy that, and maybe even the fourth round, a guy that they've been linked to, and I've talked with Bobby Belt about this, and I know they're interested in Isaiah Likely, the tight end out of Coastal Carolina.
Is he the guy that wore the number 4? And there's always that there's that meme that goes around that has Likely 4, and people are always like how many cheeseburgers am I going to order tonight? And then they just post that picture, and it's Likely 4.
Likely 4.
Or how many times am I going to get rejected at the bar tonight? Likely 4. Because that guy was famous for that. I'd love to have him on the team.
It is him. Yeah, that's exactly him. So now that you say that, it kind of makes me want him even more. But he's that prototype, like a stretch the field kind of tight end, very athletic, that I think would be an upgrade for what the Cowboys have here. Other options, we mentioned Kalar out of Iowa State, who they visited with, and they like him quite a bit. I think he's a solid player. You also have the SMU tight end that I think they've talked with, Grant Calcaterra. He's a guy that could be, third or fourth round. I don't think they'll be in play for the Trey McBride from Colorado State or Greg Dulcich from UCLA. I think those are guys that are going to come off the board rather quick. Then there's Cade Otton, who we know that they've talked with, and I think that's a guy out of Washington. I know Broadus said he liked him quite a bit. He could go maybe in round 3 or 4. I got to ask Broadus what round grade he's got out of Cade Otton, but like Jalen Weidermeyer from Texas A&M was a guy that I thought would go in the middle of this draft. He's done so poorly in his pre-draft workouts that right now the chatter around the league is he's going to go undrafted.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be an undrafted rookie free agent that you could even land. Now, why is he going to be that? I think there's questions about his work ethic potentially.
Well, and just his general athleticism. He jumped 25 inches in the vertical, and he ran worse than a 5-flat 40.
I mean, you end up watching a lot of Texas A&M. They're on the TV a lot, and they were good this year, and especially against Alabama. And Jalen Weidermeyer was a good player when you watched Texas A&M.
I do remember.
I was shocked at how poorly he tested.
Oh, I was too. I was not anticipating that. He's got some, I would call it pretty good tape from what I've watched of him. And he does drop the ball a decent amount. Like, he's got a case of the dropsies, I would say. But I am interested. I would love to, and it's not like the most pressing of needs because you do have Schultz for another year, but it would be fun to come away with a tight end that you feel like, man, this dude, he's got the athletic traits to be one of these unicorn matchup nightmares for us at some point.
Yeah, likely's a fun one. I like him quite a bit, and no pun intended there. And Derek Deese Jr. from San Jose State is a guy that I believe the NFL might like more than some of the media scouts, quote unquote. I think he's a name that goes. And then there's the San Diego State tight end as well. I'm blanking on his name, but that's probably a guy that's going to go too high. Like the Cowboys, that could be a fringe second round player. I don't think the Cowboys are going to address that. He's probably going to go before they come up in the second round. So third or fourth round, I think you've got guys maybe even trickle into the fifth round if they want to address tight end. But offensive line, I think, is an area that a lot of people are looking at. And I do like what I'm hearing from our buddy Bobby Belt in terms of it might be the player that they take, especially if it's Kenyon Green, who has played tackle at A&M as well. They might take a guy and say, all right, you're going to be our starting left guard, but we project you to move out to left tackle to replace Tyron Smith in the future.